Moo and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pinktron. I am Brent Robinson, and I am joined today by, we'll start with Maryline DeVligger. Maryline, what are you drinking?
Uh, Boring tea.
That works. Tea is
Yeah.
tea is acceptable. Tea is a long and proud tradition on the Pinktron. Absolutely. We also have Craig Martin. Craig, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a Moosehead Lager
Tasty.
by
Tasty,
Canadian.
tasty. All right, we also have John Keenan. John, what are you drinking?
I've got a Wondergrounds Brainwash Super Boost Oat Latte with lots of mushrooms in it. It's like a
Is it-
Tetra Pak kind of guy.
It's like the same brand
Okay.
you had last week, basically.
Yeah, it's the same. I had like a pulled lot, actually from the machine last week, but yeah,
Good.
that's pretty good.
We'll switch up the order here because I think we always end up with him last. We'll go Sean Fogenberg. Sean, what are you drinking?
So it is sunny and clear here for the first time in a few days. It's been rainy and gross. So I'm leaning into the summer vibe and having a Pacifico with lime.
Uh, Jealous it is not that here. It's snowing. All right, not as much as down east though. We also have Steph Etchen. Steph, what are you drinking?
Switching a bit up, still in the citrus vein, but it's a Sprite instead of a Fanta Lab this time.
Nice. I am grossly underprepared, and I think I have a cold cup of coffee sitting behind my computer somewhere. So anyway, we're doing that today. All right. Speaking of things that are fun to do in the cold, this week's Herd Winter Racing is up. It's fun and it's cold in the winter in the Northern Hemisphere.
Mhm.
Well,
Maryline,
you
you're
you will you will be warm after this race probably.
yeah, we've got Maryline. So Maryline, let's start with maybe who did race one? Any of us do race one? A lot of head
No,
shakes. All right, Maryline, why do you go through Herd Winter Racing this week?
This week we're on Petite Douleur. Not sure if my pronunciation is really correct, but
Très bien.
we're on the new French route with twice on the com and twice through the rollers of Les Intestines, and yeah, that's it. Short route, but lots of climbing this week.
That first race looks brutal in terms of power and how much power people was required to finish in the top 30. Like most people did about 4.5 plus to even get into the top 30 for 5 minutes.
Mhm.
So that Petit KOM a couple of times really brought out the hitters.
The 7.9 watt per kilogram 1 minute was kind of jumps out at you there.
Yeah,
that's probably on that last section for at the finish probably maybe.
seems likely.
Does
Seems like yeah, and like high averages overall too, right? Like
oh yeah.
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 Even the last rider was doing 2.6, which is usually have a couple of the the lower wattage people in the race, but
is it 2 laps? Is that
Yeah.
No,
okay?
it's
Well,
No.
one lap.
but the lead in has the Petit KOM.
So it's 25 kilometers. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking at the time and I'm like, that seems awfully long, but okay, 25K. Yeah, like somebody did a 4.8 average for 35 minutes, finished ninth. That's crazy.
And he also did 5.9 for
For
five
five
minutes.
minutes.
So you
Yeah.
should you think he would be higher in the
Well,
results
yeah,
because he
was about to say he was almost that last of the group and all.
Probably the
so
only
Yeah.
one who didn't have a sprint at the end of the Petite Com.
we want to talk about the course. So
Sure. Yeah, it
come out of
starts.
the pens and head straight through the intestines toward the Petite KOM. Downhill back to the start pens, and then do it all again, but finish with the KOM, right? So it's finishes at the KOM banner, which is
Yeah.
probably why some of those 5 minute power levels are so high.
Yeah.
So it really is 2 laps. You just don't get the downhill fun in the first lap because you're coming out of the pens.
The
Yeah.
KOM times were all sub fives, like the top
Yeah.
tens.
Oh,
Like I don't even know if I have a sub five petite KOM. I don't think so.
Fastest one was 4 minutes 39 seconds. So
That's almost 3 minutes under my PB.
I've got a 5:19 is the fastest I've ever done it, so I would have been 40 seconds off the back.
And it actually looks like people were racing the first lap just as hard as the second lap.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's so short. You're going to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like Steve said, it's the intestines might be not quite just hard to, well, was about to say to break it, but having experienced some other hard winter racing, probably it was blown up on that first riser into the intestine for a lot of people.
And yet the front, I mean, really the top 17 riders were probably all in a group going up that hill.
Yeah.
Like they're only separated by, well, I guess a minute, over a minute. No, 20 seconds. Yeah, within 20 seconds of first 17 riders. Yeah, it's a strong group.
that's
Yeah.
probably the difference for the last KOM.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just
So I mean, in
stretched
terms
it
of
out.
strategy, I mean, if you're a high B and up, probably try and hold on and do as best you can on the climb. Below that, you may let those guys go, and you can probably, if someone blows up in the flats or on that climb and you maintain a little bit of freshness, you can probably gobble up a lot of people on those climbs.
Yeah, I think for everybody though, it's try to make it to the base of Petit KOM. Like it's just so much faster to be in the draft through these Les Intestines.
Yeah,
Maybe not everybody. If you're gonna have a hard
No,
time, like
no.
yeah, if you can't
Draft
holding
somebody
three two
faster
three
though.
three, yeah, is gonna be important to be able to like get there. Uh,
I'd say if you're
yes,
like 110, 120% of threshold to hold on, you are probably not worth holding on till you get there. You're
Yeah.
going to burn out.
yeah, it will depends on the other people in your race. If you've
Yeah.
got a
Well, and
big
can you do
field,
that for
it
10
will be
minutes?
easier. Yeah,
Well, can you do that for 10 minutes and then go up the, like, that's the thing is I think if someone does that for 10 minutes, but that's like they're at 100, like that's their 10-minute power.
Isn't 10 minutes to the top?
Mm,
think a little bit
maybe a
No.
little
longer.
further than that.
Is it? Okay.
11K.
Yeah,
11K.
it's about. I think it's about 8K till the start of the Petite
Okay.
KOM.
So yeah, you don't want to be over threshold. If you're threshold to stay on, it probably makes sense because then threshold to the top and then recover. Yeah.
you might need to go above threshold through the intestines,
Yeah.
even just to, even if the rest of
On
that,
the uphills, yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
and well, on the uphills, and then if
Over
you're
the top
anything
of the
like me,
uphills and
you're
yeah.
still above threshold just to like hang on the downhills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that race with you, Sean.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah. Sounds tough.
I guess the only other thing to remember is like PTKOM is shallower at the bottom than it is at the top. So
Yeah.
there is some like you do want to hold the group till the steep bits and then try and punch up. Like I would definitely not try and make if you're trying to make a move, I would definitely not make it at the bottom. Let's say
Yeah.
that. You may be worth like exerting a little more than you might otherwise think given the elevation to stay in the draft because those first two switchbacks are pretty draftable.
Yeah.
And then really once you get to like the top third of the climb, then it's unload to try and get up the top.
Yeah, if you could make it to, so it's steeper when you make the left-hand turns. So you
Yep.
turn left and go up, and then you turn right, and it kind of flattens out. If you can make it to the first, like if you know you're going to drop, but you can make it to that first left-hand turn, you've probably done well. Because you're going like it's going to get hard on that steeper bit. Are you? I think that this is one race which I could see an argument for something a little lighter. Maybe not super light because it is still pretty
Was about to say,
draftable and
was about to say Tron probably at the minimum around that level because, like you said, Petite KOM isn't that steep. There's
You're still going
even
pretty fast up
yeah, even the
KOM,
steeper pinches you can get some speed into it.
it is only 4% for the KOM, but
Yeah.
the last bit of it, like
Is
the
quite
last
steep.
K is the steepest part. I feel like I'd probably do Dogma with like
7.8s or 62s.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
DTs with 62s or the
Yeah.
NV 7.8s.
Yeah.
Maybe a Tron. A Tron would be fine.
Would be fine. It's
Yeah.
basically if you were in the ZRL race on Tuesday, like whatever you chose for that would probably do well for this.
I rode the Pinarello with 62s.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
for this race, it's you only go down once, and last Tuesday you had two downhills, so maybe
True.
a little bit lighter over last Tuesday.
That's true. And it didn't have a downhill or an uphill finish
Right.
Also that, yeah.
and two sprints. So yeah. Very similar though. Good. All right. We all plan. I think I've got a bunch of stuff this weekend. I'm hoping to get it in tonight, I think. But anybody else planning to do HWR this weekend?
Probably race 7. So I want to do some endurance. Maybe tomorrow a longer ride, and then Sunday in the morning a shorter outdoor ride, and then in the afternoon do HWR.
Yeah, John and I have got to do it, haven't I? Because we're
We're
locked
neck and
in
neck.
a battle for best person on page 3 who appears on the Tron semi-regularly.
Yeah.
I didn't check. Was race 7 the fastest last week again, Steph?
I didn't do race 7 last
Oh.
week. I skipped the week because I was finally pretty good weather, so I used it to get some outdoor kilometers in.
I think it looks
Yeah,
like
I
race
think
7 was the fastest again.
yeah, last week race 7 was the fastest.
Was it again the biggest field because that race is
Yeah, I think so. It was over 100 again, I think.
yeah. Seems to be very popular, that slot.
I know it was the fastest because I wrote it.
Yeah.
You always pick the fastest.
Oh, I'm about 50-50. 50% of the time I'm in the fastest race, it feels like. Oh well. Good fun. Good fun.
I usually I do that race and usually get shelled within like 2 kilometers, but oh well.
Oh, it was hard again. I did make it to Jarvis last week, but I was dropped. And I was within I can't remember I PB'd it by 4 seconds. I was within 4 seconds of my PB, but I was off the back. All right. That is Herd Winter Racing. Hope to see you all out there. Herd Beginner Racing this week is multiple laps of Crit City.
Yeah, very short one. It's downtown Dolphin. It's only 3 laps for the lowest two, so that's 6K and 5 laps for the highest tree band. So very, very fast short race. I reckon probably everybody should be able to do it with. I was saying max 20 minutes, but even doing 10 kilometer, if it's Crit City and it's at a decent pace, probably should do it in like 15, 16 minutes maybe, or even faster than that. If you do 40 kph.
Yeah, our 10 lap ladder race this week was half an hour, which will be probably a little bit faster than the HBRs. So probably 16, 17 minutes for 5 laps.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, and I think for it's probably because it's a newer route for HBR. So yeah, it's a short grid loop of 2 kilometers with halfway through each lap you have a cobbled climb of about 400 meters. I don't know the exact length of it, but yeah, that's the pinch point, and then you have a couple of rollers near the end of the lap going downhill.
Now, remind me the rules in HBR. Will lap, like, is everybody visible? Like, will the C's and D's potentially getting lapped out by A's and B's will have you in, like, they'll be visible in the race and stuff?
I
So
haven't done it.
Only
I haven't done an
your own
HBR, so I
category
don't.
is visible.
Oh, okay. Only your own category you'll be able to see. Okay.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah.
All right. So not too many shenanigans.
I love those shenanigans, but that kind of complexity, HBR might not be the right place for.
Nope.
I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just let people know and sort of prepare them for that situation that might arise, because
Yeah.
otherwise people might get worked up. But don't have to worry about it. Everybody in the race will be, you can see there'll probably not be many people getting lapped out with those thin bands of category. So yeah. Bike choice will be your fastest. I mean, as most HVR, whatever your sort of fastest aero bike, best all-around race bike. If you're in lower levels,
Yeah.
usually it's
Yeah, he said the 2 canyons, nuclear uranium, that kind of.
agreed. Agreed. All right. Other herd racing news. I think only the Stampede Challenge is ongoing. I think we've got about over a dozen now finishers in. So get in and get on Island Hopper, get our time up on the board. You can sort of see where it's at if you go into the league for this thing. It's called Herd Stampede Challenge. You can get a sense. There might be a couple that we haven't been able to pick up in the league for some reason, but it's looking like the leader on the board is around 25 minutes. So um, I know Kev Fowler's got a ride and we can't for whatever reason get his to show up in the league, but he's in there too. So get a time up on the board, see how you're doing this month. I think that's all the herd racing this week. We'll move on to we're gonna call it news. We'll start with the news that we wanted to cover, which is the integration of TrainerRoad and Zwift is now live. You can basically get your TrainerRoad workouts. If you sync your two accounts together, you'll be able to like just access your workout in the workout list that TrainerRoad has populated for you and do your TrainerRoad workout in Zwift. Any of you guys use TrainerRoad?
I would have loved this 2 years ago.
You were on TrainerRoad?
Yeah, I used TrainerRoad for a couple of years. Having another monthly subscription for bike was maybe not sustainable. I think I had Exert at the same time, so I had
Oh wow.
I had a bunch of things. I'm pretty much down to Zwift now, but this would have been really exciting a couple of years ago. I It would be nice if there was better integration, but this is the kind of integration that I think we're seeing from all of the workout platforms. Is just being able to get your workout into the game. Like I think Marjolein, you use Join right?
Yeah, I'm using Join.
So yeah, just being able to get the workouts into the game seems nice, where you manage your plan somewhere else, but when you log in, it just shows up on the home screen as your workout for the day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in your work.
It syncs
Yeah.
the workouts that are planned for the day. And before this, yeah, you had to download them from the app or the plan you were using, and then upload them to Zwift. And if you didn't upload them before you started Zwift, you had to shut down Zwift again and do it all over. So it's not really much or something, but it's making it easier to just do your to get on the bike and just do your workout without much planning.
I will say that I think I did enough self-learning to be able to manage my own training. But for people that are looking for good, easy, not easy to do, but easy to manage training, something like TrainerRoad is actually a really good place to look. We talked about these kinds of like how to manage your training last week with John, right? And this is like a lot of what I learned was from doing TrainerRoad training plans, but then also doing a lot of um, independent learning. But it does actually you especially with all of the new like AI training plan stuff that they've got and an assessment of your FTP without having to do tests. I think it does do a good job of if you have a specific plan at some point or a specific event that you are targeting at some point in the future, it does a good job of building you a pretty long-term plan to build you toward that, going through the cycles of like, here's your base, here's your build, here's your specialty plan. So if you are looking for somewhere to throw some extra money at getting faster, I don't think it's a bad place to look.
Is TrainerRoad also like adaptive? So
Yep. At this point, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
so like
not just training plans, but also
Yeah, so the way that it has worked, you so it used to just be FTP and there were like stock plans and they have gone through a pretty big overhaul over the last few years where they are one, like I said, you don't have to do any FTP testing because it is assessing how well you have done on the workouts that you have been doing, and after every workout, you need to say how hard it was on a 1 to 5 scale, and it builds you so that it should be the right workout for that for that time. So if it is harder than it expected for that workout to be for you, like if you had a hard day and there was no and it also, if it is hard, it's like, was it because of sleep? Was it because you were underfueled? Whatever. And if you don't have a good reason for it, it slows down how quickly it's ramping you up. And if it seems easy, it speeds up how quickly it's ramping you up. But it does all of the progressive overload stuff that actually is what gets you faster. So, like on that short-term scale, it's adjusting based on like how you're feeling and whether or not you're failing workouts, because it's really demotivating to fail a bunch of workouts in a row, which is what would happen with the old plans, where it's just like, this is your workout and do it. Now it's like, well, you didn't do so great with that one, so maybe we step you back a little bit, or you crush that. So maybe you can handle a little more, which I think is a really, and it does that not just for threshold workouts, but it actually splits it based on where it thinks you're at for endurance work, for tempo work, for sweet spot work, threshold, VO2. So like maybe you're really good at VO2 relative to what your FTP is. That was my approach. And so it would give me really hard VO2 work. Whatever it is, like level 8 VO2 work, even if I'm only at like level 5 or level 4 threshold work. So that's actually it's an interesting approach. Again, if you are in touch with how you train and what you can hit, you should be able to do a lot of this yourself. But if you're, not willing to take the time and you've got some extra money, yeah, it's an interesting approach.
Well, I think all the integrations are really the main thing that seems like they're offering is lowering the entry barrier, right? It's like you don't have to go in and faff about with pulling something in and moving it. It just shows up, it's on your For You, and you click it and you do it. And then it gets stuffed back and they chew all their numbers up and figure out what your next one is.
Yeah, 100%, because we were always able to, run for the guys who were able to, kind of play around with it. You could run the two programs.
Yeah.
Yep.
You could have TrainerRoad or whatever control the trainer. You run Zwift just so you get whatever XP or whatever you're looking for in Zwift.
Mhm.
And then, but this
Exactly
is
how I ran it for years.
Yeah,
This is where anyway, we'll get into it, but this is where I'm like, what are we doing right now?
The virtual world out there.
Well,
it
okay.
is a virtual world.
So, all right. And okay, you could do these workouts like free ride with a target, right? And you just ride it and it does the normal Zwift workout thing and you try and hit the thing. And if you're close enough, it gives you a start, or you can stick it into erg mode, right?
Yeah.
And I suspect mostly what they want you to do is in erg mode. I mean, it kind of works, whatever, but it doesn't really matter as long as you're doing close to the targets, right? But then, if you're in Zwift, like you're probably going to do erg mode, because if you don't do erg mode, the hill's going to go up and down, and then you're at the change gears,
You're
and
not going to be going
be
VO2 max down the epic.
Yeah,
right?
or recovery
you're
up
gonna
the
need a
L.
lot of gears.
Now, if you do a workout in Zwift and you switch off erg mode, it also switches off the incline. So
does it?
you don't feel any.
There's 3 modes you can choose. So you can choose to use sim mode to use the actual terrain in a workout. But if you turn off erg, it first goes to incline mode, where it's just, like a treadmill. You set it to +1, +2, plus, you just increase it or decrease it.
Yeah.
So
Brent still looks super.
You can turn off all of the Zwiftiness of Zwift to do your TrainerRoad workout to
Yep.
I mean, listen, Zwift looks okay. It's like I enjoy riding around in Zwift and races, but
Brent, why do you think I'm level 100 now?
Because
I would do workouts and just
watch the scenery go by, and you're probably not even doing that. You're probably watching a movie on your erg workout. So you're literally only using Zwift to make the numbers go higher. Yeah. That is the only purpose for which you have now subscribed to 2 services to turn on this thing, to turn on your TrainerRoad thing, literally to watch the number go up. I will not have a single person who is engaged in any of this complain about any, you might as well be playing the cookie clicker. You're making the number go up. That's
Everybody likes numbers going up.
I guess bonkers sauce.
This is why Brent is not level 100 yet.
I assume, leaving aside the fact that I've done probably 10 workouts in the last 5 years, but
so is it though? I mean, I feel like you do get that distraction of there's people and you see somebody and you're like, oh, am I going to catch up to them? Or are they going to go you can it is a distraction.
Doing zone 1 between your workout block?
I mean, I haven't done trainer. I've just used some of the canned Zwift workouts, and I need a distraction because it's sort of like we talked before we started the recording. Like none of us have any patience for running on a treadmill, but we can sit on our stationary bike in our garage or spare room or shed
Well,
or
I mean, listen,
whatever.
let's be clear. I had TrainerRoad back when it was the OG mode that Sean was describing. Like I've still got my OG like original subscriber TrainerRoad t-shirt. I was on the like you could be $60 for life plan for a year and I just fell off training, got into Zwift and let it
Yeah.
go. But um like
But if you're just looking at that number of like 200 watts, 280 watts, 200, like
you
that's got
put
to
a
get
you
old.
put a movie like it I
Yeah.
don't know. I can't believe that looking at Tempest Fugit for the 500th time, which is what most
Yeah,
of these
yeah.
people do, because of course the
Right. You
number
want
goes
the
up
biggest
faster.
number.
Yeah. So
That's
I gotta
why.
say, I've spent an awful lot of time in winter training running on an indoor 200-meter track and
Yeah.
hitting my Timex every 200 meters and
Yeah.
getting every single split. Like I've done 20K on a 200-meter track.
And then
Um,
put that into a nice Excel when you get home, right?
I can. It actually it wasn't Excel. It was there's a very good vlog called Running Ahead, or
Oh,
but so that's what I used to use. But yes, I all that data would go in. Yes.
mhm.
But also like the program would have like I take it'll take other training data out of Zwift because the one thing about the integration that I would have sympathy for is that if it wouldn't account for like your racing or other activities you're doing in Zwift back into the app, right? But I take it would have done that before, yeah?
You used to, yeah, you were able to
The
pipe
same as
it.
like Zwift sends data to Strava, I would have sent it to
Feed it
TrainerRoad, and
your
it's part of
Yeah.
all the like AI mumbo jumbo. It would have like, oh, you did 3 races this week. Maybe we won't slam you with a 20 VO2
I will say that I'm
block
not
workout.
sure at this point whether that is still true, given the Strava nonsense that we talked about a few months ago,
Oh,
where they were
Mm.
like, we will not provide data to other, and it was like, okay, Strava, shoot yourself in the foot for, the thing
For
that most
join it's
people actually
still
use you for.
yeah for join it's still working, so you can upload all your rides from Strava to join. So probably for TrainerRoad it will be the same.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, listen, if this is for you and you have both subscriptions and now it's easier for you to put your workouts in Zwift,
Good
wonderful.
on you.
I'm happy for you.
Good on you.
It's Strava. It's Strava. Steve Pritchard is here and he's just mocking us in the chat because it's called Strava.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I use Strava for collecting all my cycling stats, but yeah, I'll have to check out this new app that you've got in Canada. Sounds good.
And apparently in the
I don't, this,
Netherlands as
this,
well.
do we think this might be a bait and switch from Zwift? Like, I don't. It's like, but they're just sort of integrating as many tools. But part of me wonders whether they have a kind of a master plan to get as many people who like staring at pixels on a screen to do workouts into their software as they can, and then kind of go, look, our software is a bit more interesting to look at, and hey, you can do workouts in it. But then I look at how clunky their workout interface is and go, that ain't happening, is it? So.
Well, is it like they're just
There's
farming out the actual training piece to other people, and like they'll eventually, they probably won't kill theirs because it's there, it's already built.
Yeah, I mean,
Honestly, I think people are asking for it. Like if
Yeah.
the integration with all of these, people are asking for it. In that perspective, good on Zwift for doing it. Um, it- Honestly, the Zwift workouts have it's never really been their thing. They work, they're fine, but they're fine. It's people who really want to do workout or really into a training program are doing things that aren't the Zwift workouts. They're either building their own workouts or importing them from somewhere else or whatever. And the Training Peaks integration, it was very simple. It was just, your workout of the day showed up in Zwift every day. But it was effective. And if they can do that with other partners, I think it's a win.
The thing that I thought was probably coming, but seems at this point probably isn't, was I thought that they were going to buy one of the smaller, but more experimental, highly effective training platforms. Buy Join, buy Exert, buy one of those, get all of those things integrated into Zwift, and not just integrated, but like partnered, and like it's a part of Zwift now.
It's into
But given the way that Zwift, the pace of Zwift development, it seems like this is probably the smarter approach.
Well, that, and I suspect their growth sort of curve is not like VC unicorn money that they can just start chucking around accommodation acquisitions. I don't think some VCs just hand them 20 million or 50 million or 100 million bucks, whatever it takes to like buy up TrainerRoad or Exert or something.
Their
And
growth has
it's,
been
it's
pretty flat. I think they need to get profitable, which is probably unfortunate for us as users.
Yeah. For hardcore users, yep.
is TrainerRoad only aimed at indoor riding, or is it also taking into account your outdoor ride?
You can do it as outdoor rides. You can push the workouts to your Garmin or Wahoo or whatever and do them outside. And then same as, it used to be that Zwift rides got pulled into TrainerRoad like they were an outdoor ride because it's not coming directly through their website. And so it's just like, here's another ride you did.
Yeah, so that could be one of the reasons why they don't acquire another company, because their workouts are only able to be done in Zwift, and you would lose a lot of people who now already use TrainerRoad probably, that don't use Zwift.
Are you kidding? If people could go out and ride outside and have their stats count on Zwift, they would go for it.
Yeah.
Number goes up.
Number goes up.
Number goes up.
I think that's the name of the episode.
Yeah, I think to Steve's other point, like I think there's a few other things with this too. I think a little of this is the Strava announcement probably made some of these other companies go, oh, maybe we don't all want to be relying on the Strava linchpin. Like maybe we should all partner together so that our stuff can go directly to your stuff without having to go through Strava. If Strava is going to be starting to cut off the API, I think that's part of it. And then I suspect from Zwift, this is free now, but either acquisition or like you get however many tens of thousands or millions, I doubt, users onto this. And then, oh, by the way, you want to integrate your TrainerRoad together with Zwift? Now that's a $2 add-on. When you start talking about profitability and stuff like that, like these sorts of things like feel good now, but I can see there's
I
rooms
hate to
for
throw
that.
the word out there, and shitification.
Yeah. We've been pretty lucky in Zwift, honestly.
We have. There's no add-on fees. There's no, like, everybody's complaining about the one price increase, but like given, the price of everything during that time, been pretty reasonable, and we don't have a bazillion add-on fees.
I can't wait for all the microtransactions. Oh.
Yeah, it blows my mind that we don't have pay for cosmetics at minimum, and if not pay for cosmetics, pay for like some tiny bike upgrades and stuff. There's a lot of, I think that one will get really like rough because pay to win in Zwift, I think would really be corrosive to the community. But
it melts my brain that there aren't paid in-game kits. Like 20 World Tour teams
World Tour
pay
kits,
$2-3 a year to have the Jumbo Visma kit. Like give Ahu Jumbo Visma like 10%, 20%, like whatever you need to do to royalties. But
Oh,
like putting a new kit into game must be so. I mean, I've modded Pro Cycling Manager in the past. Like, it can't be any harder than doing that. Like, it's so simple.
and like vintage like US Postal Kit or
Yeah.
like any
Yeah,
Yeah,
you would.
and if you ride with the old U.S. Postal Kit, you get a 20% EPO boost.
What you have to do is pick that your 7 best Swift rides will now no longer count, though.
Yes.
Maybe we should
Uh,
just go with Maltini. Maltini, that's a classic kit. There we go. That's safer territory.
they were all doping, let's be honest.
They were. They were.
We're
They're
like
not all, but there was a sizable majority. Yes.
we're an
Considering
American
how many other
Flyers
things
kit.
have microtransactions, it does
Yeah.
it's really surprised me that Swift hasn't
Yeah.
microtransactions a lot.
Yeah, look at yeah, as a comparison, as a subscription, an MMO, like wow, it gets its most. I think most of it, majority gets it through microtransaction and store mounts and everything. I've seen like shorts of how their sales of the store mounts in WoW do it. They're in the tens of millions, and they cost like $25 each. So yeah,
Fortnite is it's probably not the biggest game in the world anymore, but at one point it might have been. I don't know if it ever technically got bigger than Minecraft, but like literally its entire economy is based on buying dopey looking things. Like, come on, give me Godzilla. I want like the Godzilla kit. Like, let's go. Godzilla on a bike riding
Let's
around.
go.
Like,
Yeah. I want to be Todd Lyons and do backflips through the yeah, through Titan's Grove.
yeah, there's all kinds of fun stuff. Anyway,
Yeah.
all right. Anyway, listen, it's good. Like, despite my grumperness about like why you're connecting your TrainerRoad account to do an erg
His number
workout
goes
on
up.
Zwift to make the number go up. It is, I'm sure for people who want to do it, this is a very helpful,
it,
useful integration.
hey, we all done rides on our wheel arm trainer where we didn't have anything, so staring at the virtual world, so doing a workout for an hour and a half, or staring at a wall for 45 minutes. It's a big difference.
You want like, you do want to like more like Brent tells old training history stuff.
Hit us.
I had I think it was called 3C cycling workout video with Mark Cavendish. It was called Sprinting. You put it in your DVD player and you just like watched, and Mark Cavendish and these guys just bantered about for like 38 minutes with a little bit of like, all right, now we're gonna pedal really hard. All right, give it the gusto. Let's go. Give her, give her, give her, give her. All right, now easy. Good. And then you'd be like, and I did this like 13 hours a day till I won my first Tour de France stage. And you're like, what did I just watch? There was no power meters, just they called them turbos, which I think the UK folks still like to call them. And yeah, it was like this was how we worked out before.
Even lower tech, Brent. We would go when I was like late 90s. You would go to a village hall, and there would be a few turbos, and you'd chuck a bike on, all wheel on, and they'd sort of just clamp around the hub, and you'd jump on and you'd blast for a bit, and then somebody else in the club would jump on and blast for a bit, and you'd sort of take it in turns, and you'd talk to each other and just watch other men in like a sweat for a bit. It's just. Sweating on my own in the shed with the ability to put Spotify on. We don't know how good we've got it.
Yep. And then I got
These kids these
into
days.
Sufferfest. I don't know. Has any of you guys ever done
Oh,
Sufferfest?
Sufferfest.
Yeah,
I
had
haven't, but
Sufferfest
I'm
videos.
familiar. Yeah.
I still have a hard drive full of Sufferfest videos that I have. And then what really like was like mind-blowing tech integration was TrainerRoad and Sufferfest got together and you could do your Sufferfest workout in erg mode to the Sufferfest workout video at the same time. So I don't know if you guys can picture it Sufferfest. If it was like a video, like a workout video, I'd go along and be like, all right, you're in the race at the Tour de France and everything's just chilled out. It's like, oh my God, it's a climb. You're going up the climb, chase these guys. And it'd be like in the bike race video in front of you, but like with all these instructions you're going along. And so it'd be like, now pedal to 7, now pedal to 10, etc. But then they integrated that with TrainerRoad, and so like the erg mode would adjust. So like when it was like, oh, you're gonna chase Lance down the, or they had a bunch with is it Marianne Vos? Is that the big Dutch female rider? There's one that was called Hell Hath No Fury, and it was you're chasing Marianne Vos in the break. And it was just like Marianne Vos solo for like 20 minutes, and it was a 2x20 workout. And it was like Marianne Vos just going, and it's like chaser, 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 don't stop, don't you dare give up. Like she's going, you better get on her wheel. Like she's
And
gonna
no
be
matter
going,
how hard you
get going.
pedaled, you were still chasing. Like
Yes,
you could
exactly.
pedal at 11 and you would never catch
Yeah,
it.
and like the camera angles would change like it was in the bike race and stuff and anything else. And so that was like the big, like that was probably about 2015, 2016. That was like the big tech integration, is now you could have like your workout video into erg mode on your screen. And I had like a
Yeah.
laptop with it all plugged in on my TV, and I had my original 1G Wahoo kicker, and
Yeah.
I'd chase these skinny little
I
fake
think
bike riders across the screen.
But
I think what's more impressive is that people are still, I mean, not quite as much, but people are still chasing Mariana Voss down in the breakaway as she like won
Yeah.
Grand Tour stages
10
last
years
year.
later.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
9 years later.
Yeah, if you ever wanted, I think that was the hardest workout I've ever done, is Hell Hath No Fury on like my full FTP. Like it is just like a mind bender. And then of course like you get like the pack comes together and she goes again, and then it's like it starts ramping up, right? Like FTP is like 7.5, and you get like to the 10-minute mark, it's like 8, 8.5, and then like here comes the finishing sprint. You're like off the side of the bike.
I also found some videos. I don't know. One of the algorithms served me some videos, and this was roller racing, which I had never conceived of. They're just trying to hit the highest speed on rollers. And they get huge gears. I'm like, this is ridiculous. But sure, go for it.
Yeah. All right.
Steve, are
All
you
right.
familiar with this? No roller racing for Steve?
That I haven't seen. That just sounds bonkers. Like,
It really
That
does.
That sounds like Brent 100% falls off his bike and dies, but
Oh, yeah. I still
rollers
have
are always
it.
the weird thing. Like people, you'd see someone turn up and warm up on rollers before a TT, and be like, "You're a bit keen, aren't you?" Like we just ride up and down the road. Like,
Yeah.
I've got rollers, and I'm still scared to go on them.
I've got some as well. And it does improve your pedaling technique, but like
Yeah.
starting a door frame.
Well, so I think I'm going to start with wearing my full face.
Mm.
I may video it just for amusement.
Jack thinks this is a good idea.
Yeah.
All right. The other thing we just want to touch on in news just a little bit, I think, is most of us did everything bagels at RL this week. No, Craig,
Yeah.
John, I, Mary Line. So yeah, we're at the majority. Majority raced it this week. It was hard, but the scuttlebutt in the various groups and other areas, I know for sure in two of my group chats, is that the 5-minute effort it took to get up the first KOM caused any number of various types of upgrades, because of either your CE went up because there is a 5-minute threshold on the old category. I call it old. It's like been out of
ZMAP,
fashion for all
your
of
ZMAP.
11. Yeah. Went up, and so you got pushed out of your ZRL category, or more commonly it seems is in either your Velo score, because your Zwift racing compound score went up because it has this 5-minute compound score calculation, and pushed people like way up out of their categories that they were in. I got
Can
a
I be
little
the
bump.
controversial voice in the back of the room? Like, boo-hoo. Like, do more racing. You've upgraded because you did a hard effort. Like, stop sandbagging. Do more races. Do races that are hard. Like, we talk about this a lot. Do races like John and I, we're not good at TTs. Do more TTs if you're not good at TTs.
Yeah.
If you've upgraded because you did a hard effort. Ah, I'm just going to go and play my little violin and play the world's saddest tune on the world's smallest violin for all these people. But I get it. It's a silly place to have the race, but yeah. Anyway, Grumpy Steve ran out the way on this one. I saw all the chat about it, but
You spent too much time in Grislington, Steve.
Well, I'm with you. I'm 100%. If you upgraded, you should have probably been racing up to start with.
Mhm.
Like, sorry.
I think that the only I would say that the only argument that I see that would be like, yeah, why wait until the second to last race of the season? It, in a situation where it turns out that all of these upgrades actually mean nothing. So pretty much all of these riders are still going to be able to finish this ERL season. Uh, all it's going,
Yeah,
all it's
only
really doing
not
is,
for finals.
yeah. So the finals are out for a lot. Like I think we had 3 riders. We actually, yeah. So our team had 3 riders upgrade to B. They'll probably be out for the finals. But they were all complaining in our in our chat, and it's like, no, congratulations, you're stronger. This is a good thing. And
100%.
and for most
Yep.
of the like for most races, this actually doesn't matter anymore. Like
No.
it
Right.
like it doesn't change your Zwift racing score that much. You're still going to be able to join whatever races you were joining. Like congratulations. You're stronger.
Yep.
It just is really funny though, look, opening up a race, the race page on zwiftracing.app and seeing I think 12 of the first 16 riders in our race had major ZRS or major, what do they call it? Yeah, major
ZRS,
ZRS CS rating adjustment. So like huge changes to their 5-minute power.
Major ZRS sounds like a horrific illness that I want to try and avoid, I think.
But yeah, looking at it's just a whole line of little lightning bolts on the zwiftracing.app page. With
I mean, it is. I don't know if it's ironic is the right word, right? Because who uses Zwift Racing.app other than the ladder league for categorization, right?
Right.
So
Dirt
if you're not
racing.
racing ladder,
Dirt.
does it matter?
the DRS, Flamme Rouge uses it. There's
Okay.
there's
Okay.
quite
None
a
of those are
couple of.
active at the moment, though. This is why I kind of come back to the boohoo. Like,
No,
Flamme Rouge
actually,
Racing,
you're
we're
right. I
just
love
about to
it.
start a prologue. DRS doesn't start until March. Like,
It's perfect. It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is
the
perfect
the
because it
DRS Discord was exploding because people were making their teams for the season, and now all the captains had people upgrade, so they had to find new teammates or new teams if they upgraded.
yeah, I kind of love it because it does mean that everyone's in the right place for the those series that as they're about to start.
Yeah, and DRS often starts with a race where they have a 5-minute climb, so they usually try to do something like this for the start of the season, so everyone gets to the right point.
I think so. I think just to talk of like maybe just in case people are familiar with the mechanics of Zwift Racing app and comments here, what this means mostly, like very few people I think got updates on this based on who they beat, right? It's all based on their compound score being higher than their racing score.
Yeah,
So
so for ZRL, you don't get any changes on who you beat. It only changes your score if you have an updated compound score.
yeah,
I think that
so
it does upgrade
Because
or update for the scratch races, but this was not one
Yeah, I
of
was
those.
about to say.
this was a points race, so it doesn't count.
Yeah,
yes, so if you
yeah.
haven't been doing a
Only.
lot of races that put a score into Zwift racing. Maybe you just didn't have a lot of results, and so now your compound score is up, and so that's why your score has got up. But if you've been doing lots of, I don't know, whatever scratch races that feed into Velo, and now you're getting this major bump, I think it basically means that you were like dogging it in the pack and then smashing it at, well, no, you were, am I getting that right? You were dogging it
You
and then,
didn't have a very hard 5 minute effort in races. Basically,
yeah,
that would mean.
like if you just try to break away from 3K out, you probably have won some more races or got like a few more
This
people with you they'd be close to, right?
this is
Instead of,
my so when people say why should I do HWR? It's so fast, I'm just going to get dropped. It's because it's possible at quite a lot of standards, and I think Craig, you found this as well, to be really, really, really strong in your category and not be pushed hard enough to ever have to upgrade. Because
Yes.
what you
Yeah.
can do, if you can hold, you don't have to do an effort that requires you to upgrade a category because you're really strong in the category. You can stay at the front of the group and you've got a massive sprint. So that's
Well, I
why,
would
like, I feel
I
it's
would
good.
say for me it was even different. I my threshold wasn't developing because of the racing I was doing. And yeah, so it was HBR at the time, but yeah, that really pushed me.
yeah, and if you're, yeah, and I think what happens is that you're talking about like people do massive sprints and win, but if their Zwift racing score isn't going up, they're not doing massive, like they're okay-ish sprinters, probably like me if I'm being like, I'm not throwing shade on anyone else here, but you know, they're basically like they're not attacking and racing like where their actual strengths are, right? Like if they were in a race at a 5 minute climb, they'd probably get a little bit higher. This time they did it. But if they were like, you know, went at some point when there was in the middle of the race a bit of a like pinch point, or if they tried some attacks, they'd probably actually shake some of these big sprinters who are on the rivet to stay in the category and then out sprint them at the end. But what they're doing is they're like sitting in on like their 20-minute power for these 30-minute races and like kind of cruising along in tempo and then coming in, you know, eighth, ninth, 10th in the sprint because some other guy who's probably about there has got some monster sprint. But if you, what these are things they're telling you is you should be going, trying different stuff earlier, pushing guys off the front, getting out in front, and trying to shake guys, right? Hard a minute and then push it out those 5 minutes. I think, like, am I misinterpreting what these results mean when your ZRCS is going way jump above your other racing results numbers?
Or people are just doing ZRL where you're not
Yeah,
getting the score updates. So
yeah.
you kind of sit there, and then the only way you can really get updated is through this 5 minute power. And a lot of the races, you don't really have to smash a 5 minute power on time, especially the lower categories. It tends to settle down after 2, 3 minutes. You don't really do the kind of bonkers starts that they do at the slightly higher categories.
And they're probably
The hill
avoiding,
climb.
you know, Box Hill and New York and all the other stuff, you know, that would have this in it. What else would be a 5 minute? Maybe some Yorkshire stuff. I don't even think it would cross 5 minute most Yorkshire climbs. So anyway,
Yeah, those are shorter. And like Box Hill is already 7 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's quite a long way from your 5 minute best power. There's not many climbs where you need your 5 minute power.
At TKOM.
Yep, TKOM. Maybe like Itza, I think lots of
If you're
people
a
might be able
fast
to do it in
guy,
5 minutes.
I was about to say, I think
Yeah,
I'm
so
a mid.
it's a com, sure, but the thing is it's a com it like that those two KOMs kind of run together, so that's probably not a 5 minute best.
Yeah. Which one were you gonna say, Steph?
Yeah, I was about to say for Petite KOM, it's for I'm a old mid C and 7.5 minutes. So like we said, the only people doing a sub 5 minutes on Petite KOM are the tippy top. So yeah. Yeah, but like Marjolein said, there are probably some climbs if you're a lower category that could be construed like in the 5 minute range. I think for me, things like Maya Mountainside,
Castle. It's probably right
uh,
around 5 minutes.
yeah, rooftop rooftop KOM is also around that 4 or 5 minute mark if you're lower C or upper D cats.
Yeah, I've done my best 5-minute power on New York Com also a few years ago.
It's definitely the highest
Yeah.
I've ever done in a race, and it was in an HWR.
I did mine in
I
those
think
World Indoor Ranking races or whatever they were called a few years ago, and they had a race go up New York Com and then downhill to the sprint, like 6K or so or something. So it was a really short race, so that was ideal to set your best 5-minute power.
Yeah,
Worst
so
KOM in the game, according to Steve. Reverse KOM. That's my best is 4:30. Other people are probably a little faster than that.
Brent, back to the original question about like how do you get those big bumps? I just tracked down the biggest bump uh, from this rating adjustment in our race, which was over 200 points.
Ooh.
So from about 1,300 to over 1,500. And it really was like first it's somebody that's relatively new who has mostly been racing ZRL in a series that like there hasn't been enough, it really hasn't been 5-minute focused. And even, in January they raced a herd beginner race. Like it's been rapid growth every time they actually do a 5-minute like all out effort. And I think that is actually like still relative. Like there's still a lot of people who haven't raced a lot who are actually pretty strong and don't realize exactly where their limits are. Especially as people, either start or get into racing. Like I think there is often a lot of like you get into the thing and how Craig, how long did it take you to go from D to B, right? Like as you were actually
Not long.
yeah.
Yeah, it was how long was it 10 of 12 weeks or 10 of 12 races for each WR? Yeah, so it was 24 weeks. It was half a year. Yeah.
We had the winner of our B1 race did 300 plus ZRCS adjustment, but he's only got like something like 8 results
Yeah.
in ZR in Zwift racing. So I mean I 100% agree. Like the data, when you don't have the data in, that's 100% a different ball game. But I don't think those are the people who are complaining. Let's be clear.
Amusingly, I've just looked up where my best 5-minute power was, and it was it was not where I expected to be. It's on Paris. Bonus points if anyone manages to guess why it's on Paris. I think Craig's got it. It's during the Herd of Shenanigans, I think, which was in I think that was in Herd Summer Racing League, where
It
we
was.
decided to drop ourselves 10 seconds off the back of a group,
Yeah.
try and catch back up to them to beat the fastest through lap time. I think I got shelved from the group, but chased on very hard to get back on.
So
It
that
was
was when James decided that every lap on Paris was going to be a prime in HSRL, and I couldn't convince him that it was a bad idea.
Yeah.
So I just
Yeah,
looked
look,
back at mine, and it was the New York KOM
yeah,
on it was Knickerbocker, or was that is that it might have been reverse. Let me see. No, it was climb forward. Yeah, and
same I did in one of the climbers gambits end of last year. My best 5-minute power on New York KOM forward.
yeah. Well, so that was well one of the what was the original herd beginner racing that is now herd winter racing, and yeah, I think I got beat by Mark John on the line, but that was quite the race as I remember. Or Jan 1.
think Orjan 1 is a pretty common
It was
way
a
to
common
describe a lot of those races.
Man,
it was a common theme.
dude
Especially in
can
that
bike.
time, yeah.
Were you guys getting where you did your best 5 minutes stuff off Strava?
Or Zwift Power.
I was on
Just
intervals, but
I can only
I
get
wasn't Strava,
last
but
30, last 90.
yeah. So on intervals, I can get all time.
Oh yeah, okay. I just haven't uploaded all my data in there. Fair enough. Cool. All right. I think we've beaten that horse to death as
Yes,
well.
we have.
We all agree that that was like a horrific, evil race, though, right? Like it was just
kind of
painful
fun.
AF. I had a 7K solo TT to the end,
Oof.
and I had
I TT'd solo from the first come. I
ooh,
had a really bad off day. So
Uh, I will say this is I like this route because so the other two times that I have really raced this were, I don't know, 2021. It was in like the first ZRL season, and then they had it in like Zwift Classics when that was a thing. Um, and in both of those races, I had something where like with 1.6-ish K to go, there's that little uphill uh, that was a perfect place for a panache attack. If there was a little group eight seconds ahead, you could sprint up there and then like close the gap to the group ahead. And I had done that in both of the previous two races. Uh, I tried that from my group in this race, and this was the first time anyone actually tried following me. And I did not realize that just how toast my legs were. I was like, I'll just sprint up to them, and 8 watts a kilo come out. And it's like, okay, okay, I guess I'll shut that down.
yeah. We actually we had a like I got dropped on the first climb too, but we had a group, a chase group, and we caught the leaders because
Yeah.
they very, very much started setting up for the sprint. Like you could just feel it, right? They were like 20 seconds, and then you got within about a kilometer to the sprint, and the gap just went from like 20 seconds to caught in probably about 500 meters. So you just see them all setting up for the sprint, and our chase group just caught on. And then I didn't even challenge the sprint. I just like it's like I'm just gonna sit as close to the front so I don't get dropped as I can. And then we held it. I held them all the way to the climb, and then got dropped on the second climb again, and then soloed in. But it was like there was one guy like 10 seconds in front of me, I was trying to catch him. One guy 10 seconds behind me, I was trying to keep away for the whole 7K. Like it was not
Mm.
7K cruise in, it was 7K try and hold 300 watts the whole way. Good. All right. Round the horn. We are going to give out our Zwift Valentines. It is Valentine's Day. Hope everybody is doing something that makes them feel good about themselves on Valentine's Day, Zwifting or working out or hanging out with a loved one or whatever makes you feel good. Valentine's Day by yourself is totally appropriate as well. So, let's start with I think it was John's idea. So we're gonna go with John first.
Well, then I have to give it to all you guys. I have to give it to the greater
Oh,
Pinktron community for being just lovely and welcoming and right. I mean, I wandered in here. You didn't know me from Adam, I guess is the proverb, right? And I feel like, none of you guys are probably serial killers. I could visit you and probably survive, right?
yeah, we did Zwift in real life in April, and me and Chris, and we're both lived to tell the story.
Yeah, yeah. So thanks. Happy Valentine's.
That's good.
Not cereal.
Not serial killer, right? Just one-offs here and there. Try
All right,
something
Sean,
else.
that feels like volunteering. What do you got?
Oh no. Um, yeah, I feel like this that Zwift has been a community for me for the last several years, especially, we had the the bug that shall not be named that really kept me inside for quite a while with only a couple of people that I saw regularly. And so having not just you guys, but all of the teams that sometimes you wish you weren't managing, but still still put the effort into to make happen because it's really nice having the the group of folks to get on and suffer with regularly.
Yeah.
And you know, have a captive audience to brag about or brag to about anytime you do something cool on your bike that you know, your partners or whoever don't really care about. So speaking of which, I hit 1,300 watts on a peak sprint yesterday.
Woohoo!
Whoa,
Congrats.
that's a
Oh,
good
nice.
one. Nice, nice. All right. How about Steph? What do you got?
Yeah, yeah, it's been a wonderful community. I'm a late adapter to the Zwift platform, as we mentioned. Only joined in March of 2023, but yeah, quickly joined the herds, the various herd teams. Became captain of a ladder team. Listened to the Pink Sean and joined you guys and been here every week. So yeah, it's can say that it's quite the greater herd community has been a nice place to be a part of, whatever you are in a team or you're in a Pinktron.
Nice. Nice, nice. All right. Steve, how are you?
Yeah, everyone's been really nice, aren't they? I wouldn't say really mean things, but no, I don't have it in me. I think it's all the folks who do the organizing, like not just inside the herd, but like there's some. You don't want to kiss me at the moment. I'm so ill. Sean is giving me grief in the chat. But no, I think it's all the folks who just organize stuff, and like Marilyn,
Yeah.
she's just disappeared off with her headset, but battery's dead. Jonesy doing the TTTs, like the guys who do DRS, Flamroos racing. There's so many people who do like little passion, like Ladder League, arguably like little passion projects
Yeah.
that just make Zwift so much more enjoyable than any other kind of training thing I've done. Like it is, racing's pretty much why we're all here, right? And I think it's all the folks that facilitate that racing, and do it better than Zwift.
Yeah, but yeah, it's I decided to just take a step back after, I think, managing now, that being team captain of the Squirrels for over a year. But you could see it how people just under your team just appreciate the effort. They just have somebody to setting up the races, and they can race and don't have to worry about it. Which is also why I'm stepping down, because I just want to be a racer and have a break from organizing this stuff, because it's can be quite tough to do week, week after week, and just need a little break from it. Hopefully the Squirrels can go. We're still debating if somebody on the team wants to be team captain, and they're trying to convince me to keep to race for another team maybe, and set up races for them. But yeah, probably not gonna happen. Just need a
Jeff,
break.
it sounds like maybe you should just be their captain.
But well, Marilyn is not here, but we were mentioned in the team captain chat, and she basically because she stepped down from her team, and she basically said the last guy that rider that fills in the availability sheet is now team captain.
Yep.
That's a legit
They should be
rule.
pressuring people.
Oh, I'd end up
That's a good.
captaining a lot of teams. All right, Craig, what do you got?
So I'm gonna say it's all the people that have been all in all the teams, and this is the thing. It is racing, and it's been the small teams. So not, but it's not just so the people you're racing in TTT with regularly. You end up chatting with them when you're racing HSRL or HWR or HBR or whatever, and then DRS and Flamme Rouge and Mad Monday and all the other things that we've put things in over the years. I mean, it like to me, it goes right back to TTT with the well, originally the platypus, and then because there was only one team in that time zone when I first started, and then the koalas, um, and yeah, that was a really good bunch. And riding with them was really a whole bunch of me into training for road bike riding for the first time, and then all the way through all of these. We were all really excited when ZRL happened because that was before there was any hardware enforcement. And ZRL teams, I've ridden ZRL teams with Sean, with Brent, with Steve, with Marceline, with James. We've had lots of teams over the years, and it's all been fun. And it is those small groups, and that's in some ways kind of rough because it's the small groups take away from the big group a little bit, but that's always the balancing act we have to try to do in keeping everybody part of the herd, but making those links with those smaller groups of people because you don't make links with 1,000 people at once.
Yeah, it is an interesting evaluation on community, right? Because I feel like you've taken your community of essentially developed countries and narrowed it down by what 90 what do we think 99.9% of people who do Zwift bike riding, and then you narrow it down from the whatever couple 100,000 people that do that to a handful of people that are into racing, and then you narrow that down into the handful of people who are herd racers, and like you're really narrowing pretty quickly, and it does feel like you do end up seeing the same names. I know you guys have been doing it longer than I have, but yeah, you see sort of people coming back around like, oh yeah, we were on this other team together 2 years ago.
It just blows my mind there's two Craig Martins of that Venn diagram of names. Two Canadian Craig Martins.
There you go.
As well.
But
We're actually two Canadian Craig Martins in the herd, and I think we joined on consecutive weeks or something in 2020.
Oh my gosh.
That was in herd racing, yeah. I got added to a group chat on intervals actually by somebody who thought I was him just a few weeks ago. So no, it's still going on. I've never met him. We live further apart than Steve and I do, and that's really the thing.
But it's still surprising because Steve mentioned it, but sometimes in these special you come across herd people in like on teams or in the various herd races, but sometimes you still meet new people. For instance, when we did the Omnium, there were a couple of herd riders that you never come across, but they're in your same band.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. There's piles of riders in the herd. We're thousands strong.
Yeah,
So,
I was about to say because for my ladder team, you sometimes check their races, and you see There are so many ZRL teams with, and sometimes seeing the Discord in when it's a ZRL race or a ladder race or something like that, but then seeing the various group of people you never heard of, or even in your category. But yeah.
Yeah, some people just do ZRL, some people just do, they have their niche and they don't. I mean, I suppose we all do that to some extent, but saw a lot of the same names pop up in Climber's Gambit week after week. But yeah.
Good. All right, and I'm gonna wrap up the Valentine. I think everybody went, right? I'm gonna wrap up the Valentine segment by sending my Valentine out to all the Pinktron listeners. We know you're out there. We still see your downloads. We still see people commenting on the episodes and stuff. And by all means, like drop it in there because that makes us like extend the extend the conversation more than when like the stuff we're talking about gets a few more people in the herd racing Facebook or whatever to chime in. So by all means, chime in there, guys, because
And argue with us.
Yeah, argue with us for sure. You could tell me how much you think that there's much more to TrainerRoad than making the number go up when it's on Zwift.
Made my day when I had somebody in Discord say, "Hey, you're the mushroom guy, right?" I'm like, "Yes."
Exactly.
I've solidified
exactly. So
so
that's good stuff. So we will wrap it up and say thank you to Maryline, who we didn't get a Valentine from because her headset dropped off. She's gonna send hers out to the headset battery charging company. Thank you to Steph Etchen. Thank you to Craig Martin. Thank you to Steve and Jack. Thank you to John Keenan. Thank you to Sean Fogenberg. Thank you to everybody listening at home. Thank you to everybody doing herd races this weekend. We'll see you out there, everybody. Moo and good night.